What is up? This is your boy 69Beats right here with Superhero DJs, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about loops and effects. Let's get into it. You can control and manipulate loops with the Hercules Impulse 200 in two separate ways. First one is of course a standard loop section right below a jog wheel, over here on the left side and over here on the right side. Here you'll find the in and out buttons that will allow you to set the starting and ending points of the loop. Let's try it. We'll go to the first beat of our track and set the loop with in and out buttons. Now that loop is not perfectly on the grid, but I just made it just to show you how in and out buttons work. Now that the loop has been set, these two buttons will give us another two functions. The in button will get us to the starting point of the loop each time we press it. And the out button will deactivate the loop.
Put your hands up!
Additional super useful thing is that we can set an automatic 4-beat loop by long pressing the in button, which is probably the most often used feature by anyone who uses loops. Let's try it. We'll play our track, long press the in button,
Put your hands up! Put your hands up!
and we have our 4-beat loop going. One more thing that we can do while the loop is activated is using the shift with in and out buttons. Shift plus in will cut the loop in half.
Put your hands, put your hands, put your hands.
Shift plus out will make the loop twice as long. Second option to play around with loops is the roll pad mode. We get into it right over here. The way this mode works might sound a little complicated, but it's super fun to use, so let me explain. We can play around with it making auto loops of 4 different sizes, but when we activate them, it won't affect the original playback of the track. What it means is that we can only hear the loop that we've made, but the track keeps playing in the background. So when we release the pad, the track will be at the exact same time it should have been, just like we've never activated the loop. It's a great way to have fun changing the dynamics of the song, remixing on the fly, making it more exciting for yourself and the crowd. For example, making build-ups more exciting, or we can completely remix the drops while having the original phrases untouched. This will require a good sense of where we are in the phrase, but if you can count bars and phrases right, there is no stopping you. Let's try that with the build-up first. Okay, so we will activate the roll mode over here and play our track from the beginning with the play button.
Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Put your hands up!
Now on the drop, you can do the very same thing to make a remix on the fly. Let's try that with the other tracks that we have.
What goes up now must come down.
Now loops can be useful in many different ways. To showcase them, I prepared 2 specific tracks with a couple of characteristic moments that can be found in most of the tracks you will find in clubs. These tracks are really simple and contain 4 layers that create 4 phrases: an intro, the build-up, main drop, and an outro. Just head over to our download section and get them for yourself. So now let's get into the real life action and the ways the loops can be used. Our first focus is gonna be on the intros and outros. As you can see, one of our tracks has a really short intro and almost no outro, while the second track has those sections nice and long. If we don't want our transition to be super short, we can use the loops to extend the intro of our track. So what we will do is we'll go to the very first beat, set the loop to 8 beats, and that will allow us to extend the intro of that track for as long as we desire. So we have the first beat over here. We will set a 4-beat loop by long pressing the in button and extend it to 8 beats by using the shift plus out button. So now we have an 8-beat loop that will allow us to extend that intro for as long as we want. Now that we have our long track coming to an end, we can start to mix in that short track with looped intro and deactivate the loop when it gets to the last 8 bars before the first track ends. Let's try it.
What goes up now must come down.
We just wait for the main phrase to end. And now we bring the second track. Deactivate the loop.
Put your hands up, 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 put your hands up.
The same thing can be done to extend the outro of the track. As you can see, our short track ends very quickly with the last bar of the piano and nothing more. So what we will do is we will set the 4-beat loop on that very last bar with the piano and make it play for as long as it gets for the second tracks to mix in. Okay, so we have our piano bar queued over here. So we will make a 4-beat loop again with long pressing the in button. And we will have that 4-beat piano sample playing for as long as we want. And we can bring in another track over it.
What goes up now must come down.
Now that was an example of using the very last part of the song to extend the outro, but loops can also be used for mixing out a track with any part that you want, for example some characteristic vocal parts. As you can hear, we have some nice vocals on the build-up, and right there before the drop, we have that one bar with clean vocal and no beat. Let's make a loop on that single bar and use it for an outro. We will bring in our vocal build-up.
Put your hands up,
We will make a 4-beat loop using the in button, long pressing it.
Put your hands up, 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 put your hands up.
And now that we have our 4-beat loop playing, we can bring in the other track.
Put your hands up, 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 put your hands up.
Get up, get down for the bass and sound. Get up, get down for the bass and get.
To make it more interesting, we can play with changing the length of the loop, the EQ or filter, and other effects. This takes us to another section of the tutorial, using the loops with effects.